Welcome to Life in Abundance with the Gentrys. I'm Mark, and this is Bree.
That's us. So, what are we talking about today?
Value, what we value in our marriage and in life.
That's a good one. Okay. I feel like raising little humans in the world that we live in right now, it's really hard to not make them spoiled because they can have anything they want at the drop of a dime. It's hard yourself to not feel spoiled and entitled sometimes because it's the same. You can have anything at, drop of a dime. Mm-hmm. And I feel like this plays out in our businesses, in just creating healthy relationships with people too. I feel like sometimes it's, everybody wants something right now, right at, the second that they want it. And if they have to wait for it, it's really hard to realize, oh, wait, we didn't used to have access to this so quickly, And so I feel like for us raising 3 little humans, it's hard to stop yourself in a moment and be like, wait a minute, let me address the situation at hand, and let's not get, ahead of ourselves or be too dramatic. And I am first to admit that I am always the one that's a little bit over dramatic when I can't get something that I want right away. And I value, now looking back at the times in life where we didn't have cell phones like we do. And I feel like we always had cell phones, but not like now you're walking around with a handheld computer.
Bree had a Razor phone when I first met her, and that was baller. She had that and a Palm Pilot, and that was I remember I was
a business owner at 18, Mark. That's what we needed. I had
still was borrowing my mom's cell phone half the time and was playing Snake on it on the old Nokia. But yes, life was more simple when there wasn't internet on your phone and all the other stuff.
Absolutely. And I feel like a lot of times we get lost in, the world with all the chaos and things, so easy access to everything, that we forget to sit back and say, okay, we need to be present in the moment right now and teach our kids, you don't always get it right when you ask for it or right when you want it, and what it's like to work for things and not just hand it to them. I feel like we've been focusing a lot on budgeting and, building this generational wealth for our children in the future. And what does that mean? We die and we give our kids everything we have? No, we want to enjoy our life with our children. And there's more value in that than handing somebody a check for, let's say, I don't know, $100 or whatever it may be. Creating an experience with them now while we're healthy and while they are young and want to be with us, right? Yeah. And just really looking at what we find more value in life. And, I feel like we're brought up to save and plan for your future and all those things. And that's great. I had kind of a funny conversation with our pastor because Mark is a big time saver and planner and living life in caution. And I respect that balance in our relationship, but that's not exactly how I live. And at least pre-marriage, I was talking to our pastor about it, though. He says, okay, it's tithe 10, save 10, spend 80. And that's how I would totally live if it wasn't for Mark. And, I think you're brought up to believe, save for your future and all those things. And we do that. But I also want to live in the moment with our children and do the things that we like and live in abundance ultimately, and I value those experiences so much more than I think somebody would, whatever the cost of a vacation is at the end of life, and you don't get to be there for that, Yeah.
And that's for me, what I've learned, what I'm valuing more and more is I used to think I want to do things that make me feel good, that make me happy. But what was doing that was not fulfilling me, and doing things like a vacation with the family, doing date nights, those kind of things, those are adding value to my life and adding value to other people's lives. And that's, for me, was the biggest game changer is I went years with doing what I wanted to do. And I always thought that was that's what I value. And saving money and all those other things are great. But at the end of the day, if you don't value the small stuff and see what's in front of you, that's what I missed for a long, long time. It's what was right in front of me, and I didn't value that. And so that for me is like the whole value picture, I was making myself I didn't value myself at the end of the day, like I should have.
Yeah. So it doesn't really matter what you have, I feel like, in the big scheme of things. It's how you choose to spend your time in your life while you have it, right?
Yeah.
You know, like you always say, we only have one body.
Yep.
Why wouldn't you take care of it? You're
Exactly.
not going to get another one. You don't just to be like, okay, I'm done with this one. Give me a new one.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you invest in it now while you can, right? And I feel like for our girls, it's important for us to teach them and show them that also, so that they make long-term healthy life choices. And yeah, they're not going to always make the right ones, and that's okay too. But as we are leading by example, we want to make sure that we also are showing them this is something important to us. This is something we value, and we're going to get, long-term value out of, rather than something short-term that isn't really going to matter tomorrow or, in a month or whatever it could be,
Yeah, no, I think over the years, as we've hired coaches and done certain things, is I was always I was always price first and then value second, and you're very much value first, price second. And that's what's changed my mind, especially in that. I think a lot of people's mindset is price first and then value. They always see the money, and I get it. But at the same time, you miss the value of what somebody's trying to give you. It could be my service, your service, flying first class, or whatever it might be. And you sometimes miss the opportunity because you're so caught up on the number.
Totally.
And not seeing the value of it. And I know for me, myself personally, I hired a coach and I paid more money than I would ever have paid, and I didn't blink, and I got probably 10 times the return on the
investment.
Investment. And that's just not money wise, but that's in all aspects of my life. So I definitely have changed my mindset to more value rather than money. And I'm still not the best at it, because you're the exact opposite of me. And so that's probably some of our biggest fights, is you want to do things, and I'm like, whoa, you know how much it costs? And you're like, yeah, but how much fun will we have, or how good will it look? And it usually turns out that I'm wrong. And so
Not true. I mean,
Kinda true.
No, there's definitely pain in it. You brought up flying. This is something that is so important to me, because I hate flying. People that fly with me hate flying because it is miserable. And
sorry to interrupt, but fun fact, I have to wear a black shirt when we fly because Bree hyperventilates and starts crying. And so if I wear a white shirt, I get mascara and makeup all over me because her head's literally in my armpit, and I'm like, get away from me. So I have to wear a black t-shirt. And now that we have 3 kids, they all feed off their mom, of course. So I've got makeup and eyelashes and tears and all kinds of stuff all over me. So yeah, Bree does not like flying.
I do not like flying, but I decided long ago I wasn't going to let it stop me from living my life, and I was going to do whatever it took to fly. And in some cases, that's cry the whole way. It's not even about flying. I'm not afraid of the plane falling out of the sky. It's that I don't get to fly the plane. I bet if they let me in the cockpit, I'd be 10 times better.
She actually interviews the pilot, how you're walking on the plane. She'll ask him
how's your heart?
Yeah. You good? And they're like, yeah. And she's like, are you sure? And I'm like, bro, let's go back to our seat.
You never know. And they're flying the most precious gift God ever gave me. I'm going to make sure that they're nice and hearty and healthy. Mm-hmm. So anyways, but when it comes to flying, we talk about this a lot. What's your time worth, right? And I know flying first class sounds crazy to some people, but to me, it's about time. It's about comfort. I find so much more value in that than the cost of flying, not in first class. And I know this sounds probably bougie and a little bit bratty, but it's something that I feel is worth working extra hard to be able to do. Mm-hmm. And I will find ways to do it and make it the most cost efficient or make the most sense for our life, if it's changing our flight times or dates or whatever, fly red eye, whatever. But I know that it's going to make for a much better and smoother trip for us, for the comfort of our children. And then that makes us better. And I find so much more value in, starting out a trip to be smoother and more comfortable than getting there flustered, crammed. I'm an overpacker. I first to admit it, and I like overpacking. I don't see anything wrong with it. maybe it's annoying to you, but it's worked out good for us when we've been stuck in places we didn't plan on, and I had extra things in my carry-on to help us survive for those few days.
Well, I'm the one usually carrying 9 bags and pillows and everything else. So yes, it is kind of annoying. But
I'm so sorry.
Our last trip we did get delayed, and we were flying first class. We were on the plane for 6-7 hours, which we should only been for 3. So it did make a big difference. And then we did the flight home, and we got bumped to economy, and my daughter, Mateo, who's never flown economy, we're walking back, and she goes, Dad, do they serve lunch on this flight? And I go, well, not today, babe. She goes, how about my Sprite? I said, it might be a while. And so she was introduced to that. So
yeah, we actually were grounded a couple days and staying in Dallas in the airport hotel. And I had just a few things in my carry-on to get us by. Matea's like, Mom, don't you feel like it's kind of like camping? Oh, yeah. It's exactly like camping. But it's funny because for our kids, they don't know any different. And we've worked really hard to make sure that we can provide that for them. And there may be one day that we can't. But for now that we can, I enjoy that. And it's something that I feel like, you know, working as hard as we do, I can justify it no problem. So that's important to me. And so that's just an easy example of what I find value in over the price tag or the cost, because I really want to enjoy my trip. And it may be a 7-day trip, and I want to make sure that we're starting off on a good foot, that all 7 days are enjoyable. And it's not like it takes us a day to shake off the travel frustrations and chaos and whatnot. And so we're really robbing ourselves of part of our trip. And so I think that you've come to realize, or in agreement with me, that that is very much so what we see is worth, you know, putting the extra funds into. And maybe, you know, cutting out here and there where we can, so that it's not like you feel it, I guess. I don't know.
Would you say, as we get a little older and after our 3rd kid, that our health, our personal health is probably, we value it more so than we did maybe 10, 15 years ago?
Every day, yes, 100%. And in our sleepless nights right now, I can't believe how much I miss sleeping well. Our 10-month-old does not sleep well. And
that's an understatement.
Training our children to sleep prior to the 10-month-old was rather easy, but considering the baby is still in her crib in our room because she's not sleeping well, I don't want her to wake up the other 2. That means we don't sleep well. And so that's just been kind of a challenge overall. But where I'm going with that is, in, you know, the last 10 months, I never realized how much I took sleep for granted. You know, and now it's funny taking supplements and doing those kind of things. When I do get sleep, it's good sleep, you know, and when it's not good sleep, my body, everything else is affected. It's really wild. And too, for our kids, you know, when they eat good, they feel good. When they don't eat good, their personalities change. And I wouldn't say for the better. They're more challenging or more defiant. I don't know. It's funny how it affects your body. So, I would say 100% we see more value in our health now, not just for today, but for long term. You know, there's things that I want to be there for, and I want to make sure I'm making a healthy, conscious effort right now to do everything I can to ensure I'm going to have a healthy life, however long that may be. Yeah,
and that's what I see with people that I talk to all the time, and myself personally, is like I never made myself the number one asset. I didn't value myself, meaning I didn't put myself first with exercise, eating right, getting blood tests, going to the chiropractor, doing those things. And now I'm doing those things, and I feel so much better. And which in turn makes me a better husband, makes me a better father, makes me a better business owner, all the above. And so I see that a lot of people don't value themselves. They always put themselves on the back burner. Like, oh, you know, like I'll wait till my kids get older, or I'll wait till this happens, where it might be. And they don't just start now. And I think that that's a big mistake, because we don't get this life back. We don't get this body back. And once this body's gone, then we're pretty much done. And so I think valuing myself more so than anything, it sounds kind of bad when you say it out loud, but it's actually the best thing you can do is value yourself and what you have, and make it the best. that
Yeah.
you can.
Well, I think you said it once before that how can you sit here and justify, you know, wanting your kids to be healthy and work out and be active if you yourself are not doing that? Lead them by example. Get up early. Create healthy habits. Eat a healthy routine, you know, meals. Plan your meals, whatever that may look like. And yeah, we indulge in the treats as much as the next person. There's a restaurant here locally and they have this Choco Taco dessert and I live for that. But, you know, it's once in a while and we definitely, it's everything in moderation for our family. But I mean, that really truly is healthy lifestyle habits that your kids, there's so much more value in that than anybody could ever pay. You know?
Yeah, you know, they always say your kids don't remember what you tell them. They remember what they see you do.
Yeah.
And
so true.
That's a big thing. And as I get older, you kind of realize that about your parents. You don't ever, I mean, like you remember some things, but you remember more so of the actions of them. And that's going to be the same with our kids.
Yeah, absolutely. And they would tell you that too, you know, mommy and daddy do this, but then they also tell you the other things that we do that you don't always want people to repeat.
yeah, that's fine.
Or the words you don't want them to repeat, but they're little recorders. So that is setting a good example. But I think in business too, you know, I'm in a position now in the art. We own a salon and we have a good solid team of 8 stylists, including myself. And I can't expect them to rise to any sort of standard that I'm not personally living myself. And I know that it's going to produce a healthier and stronger team to have some standards, to have structure there. And I know that in the end, if I'm not living up to that same standard, how can I justify asking anyone else to do the same?
Well, you can't lead if you don't value yourself and you don't put into action what you preach, right?
Absolutely. And I think that that is one thing that I can say confidently that I do well in our salon. This is the standard for myself and I want it to be for everybody else. And there's a contagious spirit when you walk in my salon. Just people feel a sense of community. There's that fellowship. There's that connection. And the value in that is worth way more than I believe even in, you know, the service at times. People come there and it's a complete transformation in a feeling, not necessarily even in appearance. And I know that for women alone, when you come in and you're kind of down, I had a client yesterday actually really struggling with this. And it was funny in the salon yesterday, 3 times it was mentioned of people just feeling like disconnected from their purpose. And as we got through the conversation and the appointment, it was 3.5 hours. She says, "Oh, I finally feel like myself again. Thank you." And it's so funny how it's just like a refresh feeling in your soul, not even so much in your appearance. And I think that that is something, there's something great to be said about that when you create a salon culture like that in any work environment that is, you're capable of that, you know? And I really feel like that has been my focus this year, is really elevating, not just on a service level, but just the standard in general for the stylist, for our team, for the service we're delivering, for the expectation from the clients. You know, 99% of the world wants to be led. And if we're not willing to lead and direct, how is it going to function the way that we want, you know? And I think also setting very clear expectations with my team has been huge this year, and vocalizing and communicating what exactly that is. And I know that's the same for my household. I'm only disappointed when the house isn't clean because I didn't tell somebody I wanted it cleaned, right? And my kids know the standard, they know the expectation, but they're still children, and you know, they're going to do childish acts, and I have to continue to reel them back in and guide them. And that's going to always be, I think, your role as a parent, you know?
Well, it's also what you do with me about once a week.
Okay. No, I think that it's something that we are really good at as a couple, not to toot my own horn, but it is in our household, you know, setting the standard for our kids. We're not going to change the standard for one child from the other because one child's a little bit rowdier, or this child doesn't sleep as good as her sister, so she gets a little bit extra whatever. No, we're not going to do that. Here's the standard. If the child doesn't want to raise to the standard, then there's consequences. And I think that's really simple to implement in any relationship, in any work environment, in any household, and that's important, right? So I know for me, I'm learning every day, and I'm not going to say in any way am I perfect as a leader, but I know that these things work because I've seen others follow in suit, and it's really been successful for us. And I would say more now than ever, our team is unified, you know?
Yeah. No, and I think also because we're valuing ourselves way more than we did and our time. You know, I think years ago you were running so ragged because you didn't value your time, and then you changed it around by doing NBR, and you're more you're getting your time back, and you're valuing the time you do have with the kids and with your clients and all those kind of things. And so I think that was a big thing for you to change your work schedule.
Yeah, huge. And I mean, NBR's natural beaded row extension method, which is the type of extension service that I offer in my salon. It's an elevated luxury service. And I transformed my books from being a full book of business offering color, and haircuts and, you know, other services to solely NBR. I have a few color clients that linger in between, but really mostly I would say 99% of my clients are extension clients, and it helped me transform my business, not because of even income, but to create freedom in my schedule. And there was so much more value in that than seeing 16 clients a day, even making the same dollar amount as I would seeing, you know, 2 NBR clients. But I was exhausted. I had nothing left to give. And when I'm coming home to my people and feeling that way, you're drained and there's nothing left to give. You lose sight of, you know, how valuable they are, and what you are delivering isn't your best. And I had to make those changes, and I was forced. I was in a place of desperation. I didn't have a choice because I could not continue on the way that it was. And we definitely would still not be married if I continued my schedule the way that it was. So just being a mom of 3 too, there are things I want to be there for, and I could not if I continued in that schedule. So yeah, it definitely changed my life. And I received so much more value from my education with NVR than I could have ever imagined back when I, you know, committed in 2019.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of had the opposite problem where Bree was too busy. I had more free time in the sense of my schedule is a little more free than Bree's, and I didn't value my time. I wasn't doing things that made me better. I was like, I was scrolling on Instagram, I was watching TV, watching shows, when I could have been doing more in business. I could have been hanging out with the girls, could have been doing more things, and I didn't value my time. And it's been amazing in the last year or so when I have valued my time, and I don't really watch much TV, even though Bree says I do. I watch like 30 minutes a night, maybe. That's if I don't fall asleep on the couch. But I value my time more, and I'm more aware too of what I'm doing during the day, and how precious time is and how fast it goes by. It feels like I'm making a fresh pot of coffee for the morning time, like every 2 hours, even though, you know, I know it is every morning, but it's going by so quick, and I have to capture that day and value what God gave me and what's in front of me, and I got to make the most of it.
Absolutely. And that starts, I think, first and foremost with mindset.
Yeah,
you know, waking up and starting your day in a routine, but just being mindful of like, today wasn't promised to me, and I woke up with air in my lungs, energy, I can move, and is this going to be a good day or bad day? Even if things fall into place that you weren't exactly expecting or wanting or may seem negative, the way that you handle them is all based upon your mindset, you know, and you can choose what that is.
It's pretty cool. I do a journal every day, and it's of a gratitude, and it makes you think. It's about 15-20 minutes, and it makes you grateful for something every day that I put down, and it just sets your mindset differently, right? Instead of waking up like, oh man, it's Monday or it's Wednesday, I can't wait till, you know, Friday or whatever it might be. It gives you gratitude for today and what you have in front of you, and it's doing that is like totally changed like how I feel about the day, how I treat my clients, what I'm going to do throughout the day. And so, yeah, I would say mindset's probably 100% of it. I know it sounds kind of crazy, but I mean, it's all about mindset.
No, it absolutely is. And I mean, you're saying, being mindful of showing gratitude and acknowledging that. Sometimes even when you're in a state of mind that isn't positive, that journaling and whatever holds you accountable. And sometimes we just need to be reminded, hey, this, it sucks that, I don't know, whatever thing that could be annoying in your day, you ran out of gas or whatever it could be, but you're healthy and you're safe. And that's what I have to constantly remind myself when things aren't exactly going right, or my kids are acting out or whatever. They're healthy and they're safe, and I wouldn't want to be anywhere else,
Well, the guy that I hired is funny when he says, when you're mad at your wife, do a gratitude stack, which is like a journal.
Oh, God.
And it's one of those things.
How many of those do you have?
Oh, my gosh. I have too many to count. But, not the gratitude stacks. I'm joking. But no, it's to do a gratitude stack because, you're so upset in the moment and angry about something, and to gratitude stack someone that you're not too pumped on at the moment, to find something, it definitely separates facts versus feelings. And I know for me, I'm a very emotional guy. I go off feelings, not facts all the time. And when I go off facts, it's amazing how much more I value in life and how much more I'm calm and I don't get mad.
Yeah.
And so that kind of goes back to the value factor. And when I have feelings, it's like I have no value for anything. Like I just go off the rails. And so if you ever do get upset, that's something that you could do is think about something that you're grateful for that person or for that thing. Like if your car's broke down, be grateful that you have a car. If your wife's making you pissed off because she's spending money, be grateful that you have a wife and that she loves you. You know what I'm saying? Like those kind of things. And so that's helped me quite a bit.
Yep.
I think Bree would agree.
Oh, transformed your life.
Yes.
Our life.
Yes.
I wouldn't have it any other way. But no, I think that it's a good life habit to have and good things to instill in your children. And I know sometimes when we're praying at night, it's like you're always praying for things you need or things that you want from God. But, I first start my prayers with my kids is thank you for this day and for these beautiful children that I get to, love through life.
Yep.
And even in their hard moments, always grateful for just time with them, that's not promised to us. So, I think that it's great. And I think time is so underestimated at times. And I know in changing my schedule, it had to be, I was in a point of like desperation to do so because I didn't have a choice. And I was missing years. I was missing minutes. I was missing hours and days with my kids that I will never get back. And I know that I would have rather done with less at that moment to have time with them. And, I am fortunate to have made the right moves in shifting my career to be with them more. And, with the tools that I learned from Natural Beta Row Extension Method and in the Continued Education Academy program, that shift completely changed our life. And my kids do recognize how hard we work, and the life that we have wasn't just because somebody just gave it to us. It's because we work for it and continue to work for it. And there are days where Matea goes to the salon with me and it's like, hey girl, you're here for 2 hours. That means every towel is folded while you're here because it is our life. I remember one Christmas Eve, we were cleaning the salon while most families were getting ready for Christmas morning or whatever. And it was like, this is what we do because we own a business and we're cleaning our salon together, and never let her think that it's just given to you. We work for it, and the life that we have, we work for to maintain it. It's healthy for them to see us do that. So I think just building that character in them is something we can never stop doing, and we do the best by leading by example.
Yeah, no, I'd say what I struggled with for a long time is I was like, I wasted so much time, and I wasted years of not valuing my time and my kids, and I beat myself up for it, and I was like, man, I wasted so much time doing what I wanted to do and all this stuff, and I just had to come to the mindset of like, listen, that was yesterday, today's today, and let's and let's do it today.
Yeah.
And
How are you going to show up today?
Yeah. And so for me, that was my biggest lesson is, hey, listen, I messed up. Okay, let's go and wash it and let's learn from it and let's move on.
Yeah.
And don't beat myself up and find value and find the amazingness of today.
Amazingness.
Yeah, is that a word? I don't know.
No.
It sounded good. It came out pretty good. But I don't care. You guys get what I'm saying.
Absolutely. I agree. And I feel like that's something that we do well together and continue to do daily and make a conscious effort. And sometimes you have to stop yourself in the moment and remind yourself. But when we do, you're so thankful that you did, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that it's good life lessons. And moving forward, you could only hope that your kids do the same, you know? Yes. So leaving behind this legacy, if you will, these are all little nuggets that you're throwing at your kids and just praying they just collect them, or as our financial advisor says, crumbs. They're all crumbs, and in years time or however long, eventually it becomes a loaf.
That and our 4-year-old Selah, she has a saying, this is the best day ever. And she could be literally running in sprinklers. This is the best day ever. We got her a little gator for the ranch, and she's driving around. She's like, this is the best day ever. And she'll be like at the pool, this is the best day ever. And it's like so amazing. She believes it at that moment and that time. And I'm like, man, like to like live like that and to think like that as an adult, how amazing would that be? Right. Yeah. And she kind of puts you in your place because you're like, well, actually today is the best day ever because we're not promised tomorrow.
It's true.
I heard this guy say one time, if I gave you $10 million, you'd be happy, right? And he'd be like, yeah. If I gave you $10 million and you'd be dead tomorrow, would you take it? And he'd be like, no. He goes, so your life's worth more than $10 million. So you should wake up every morning excited to be alive.
That's cool.
And so that was like, wow, that's pretty cool. So whenever, I get kind of in the pit of my day, I remember always saying this is the best day ever. And it really is the best day ever because I'm here.
That's right. Amen to that. Well, we hope everybody has the best day ever. Yep. And I'm going to say that that's a wrap because it feels pretty good to go out of your evening with the best day ever.
Best day ever.
That's right. So we'll see you all episode 4 coming at you.
And we're now on YouTube and all podcast platforms. Check us out. Life in Abundance with the Gentrys.
That's right. Good night.